Hey everyone, I'm Igor, and I'm from that company that builds a tool for the modern data stack. And today we'll look into a way to navigate through that. But let's start with a tale. Back in the days, the world was pretty, where you had this single data store and your favorite BI tool sitting on top of that, where you managed all the access control that you wanted to manage. You had your data modeled in a nice way. Your queries were pre-cached and running smoothly, and on top of that, you got your dashboard that hopefully loaded in less than a minute. But then the world started to change, and it goes on and on and on with all these conversations and things happening, right? And the world that we have now, I think it's marked by the proliferation of different things. So you have this multiple data stores, starting from data warehouses to traditional databases to streaming sources, etc. And also you have multiple teams, of different kinds that wanna access the data in their own way using the role-specific apps. Like some of the teams might wanna use a traditional internal BI, but some of them would like to get a front-end app, with some modern framework. And of course, your analysts will still get some Jupyter-like experience, but in a modern data workspace. And that is the thing that you can confirm for yourself when you go to your favorite source of knowledge for the information about the modern data stack, be it this one or that one. Well, you're bombarded with dozens of categories and hundreds of tools within those categories. So how do you navigate that? How do you just make sense of how all the things should be connected into a single pipeline? Even more so, how do you do that in a situation where with lots of data sources, lots of data consumers or teams who want to consume the data, and lots of ways to visualize that and present to the teams? How do you make sure that you actually connect all the dots and make sure that data is delivered from the data sources to the consumers, right? So you have this kind of multiple or connections between the dots, and there should be a way to sort them out. One way to do so would be to deliberately remove the visualization part, right? So you still keep control over your data access and security and modeling part, but you just don't bother about visualizing the data. It's going to be done later. It's going to be done in the tool that your data consumer would use. So what I'm trying to say, like, just behead your BI, or in less bloody terms, just make your BI data viz agnostic, right? So think about what is upstack, and just don't bother about data visualization. And with this, let's have a dream, right? So let's think what would happen if we lived in a world where that's already done, right? And you have this option to go your database tool of choice and see exactly that. So here I'm going to show you a demo. So we have a cool ETL tool from the modern data stack. Well, it's called Byte, right? And it's open source. But here I have a pipeline which just delivers the data from GitHub to BigQuery. And well, here in BigQuery, which is not open source, but still a popular tool, I have some data on the stars that different folks leave in the repositories of a few popular tools in the modern data stack. And we can preview the data. Well, it's quite obvious. And then, wouldn't it be cool if you can move to a data workspace of your choice and run a query like this? So I'm rewriting this, and yeah, within seconds, we see that, well, some tools have certain number of stars. Well, that was trivial, right? And well, we didn't bother understanding, where all these items come from, but we'll get to this later. And well, obviously, the queries that we're running, they can get more and more complex, right? So, for example, here we are just making sense of an interesting statistic. So, what is the intersection in Stargazers between all the three repositories in Airbyte? And well, this might be telling, but let's move on. Wouldn't it be cool if at the same time you can run the same query in your BI tool of choice? Here we're looking at Superset, and actually you can do just the same thing you were doing in Hex, right? Looking at the intersection between these two, and then wouldn't it be cool if you could also deliver that same data to your automated report building tool, or to a custom front-end app that the team is building? So for example, wouldn't it be cool if you can just run a query to some remote HTTP endpoint and get the same data, right? So let's get back a minute to what I was saying. One way to live in a beautiful world is to deliberately skip thinking of how to visualize the data, but make sure that the data can be delivered to any downstream tool, and those can consume it. So at this point, you might just say, "Well, so what are you pitching us? So isn't this kind of database agnostic thing just the metric store thing that we were talking about in 2021? Not exactly. Well, we all know that the metric store thing is not around anymore, right? No one's talking about it a lot. And well, one reason for that might be that the companies that initially popularized the term, they are not around anymore. But I think that that's more a question of semantics. And yeah, the pun is intended here. So yeah, the term that's used nowadays, increasingly more, is a semantic layer. But was I showing you how a semantic layer works? Kind of. So, but not exactly, because just think about this. When you have a way to deliver your data in database agnostic way to any consumer that you have, you can do so much more than just deliver your metrics. So you'll get consistent data in all downstream tools, but you can do more. Your data may be consistent not only in terms of what kind of numbers you see in the downstream tools, but it also can be consistent in terms of freshness, right? So how fresh it is, and also you can achieve consistency on a different level. For example, you can enforce consistent access control on the data, and it's all possible if you just behead your BI tool and use a headless BI. So well, there are some implementations, and again, you might see some logos on this screen, but the beauty of this is just in this picture, right? So you just connect everything that you have upstream, starting from data warehouses and ETL tools that deliver data to it, and to any downstream tool, from a BI workspace to data notebook that you have. So let's wake up. The way to navigate the modern data stack exists. There are some great implementations, and they provide you a way not only to navigate the modern data stack, but achieve consistency in how you work with your data. Okay, and well, the tools are open source. With this, thank you so much, and goodbye.